Christ says in the Gospel, "Whoever becomes angry with a brother or sister will be subject to judgment." Well, there might be a crowd at the entrance to that court. For indeed, as St. John Cassian says, anger makes a person like a demon, for the murderous energy that is the passion of anger is considerable and wreaks phenomenal havoc. We have all experienced this, unfortunately. Let us note that what the tradition refers to as anger does not consist solely of those violent, externalized manifestations that we usually associate with that name. That is the acute form of the passion of anger. Yet under the label of anger, we must also consider all forms of aggression, externalized or internal, open or hidden, explosive or cold and withdrawn, vulgar or subtle, of which we are capable and which are directed at our fellow human beings. In the principle of creation, this phenomenal energy is not at all like that. Anger has certainly become a pathogenic energy, yet it could regain its beauty and usefulness. For anger is not primarily negative, and its energy, depending on its intention and direction, can destroy humanity and the world, or build it up in beauty. Both are possible. God has given the human soul an aggressive power endowed with the energy of anger, but He has endowed it with this power for self-defense as a weapon to drive away evil thoughts, to fight against demonic attacks, and to resist the obstacles that block the path to God, our path to likeness. St. Gregory of Nyssa in the 4th century wrote, "As for aggression, anger, and hatred, these powers must guard the door like watchdogs with the sole purpose of resisting sin. It is through this faculty, used in accordance with its original nature, that the spiritual person, removing all obstacles, can remain without deviating on his own path, that of his union with God, on the path of his growth, on the path of his fulfillment, on the path of love." St. Macarius has some very strong words. "When passions arise, sensible people do not listen to them, but they become irritated with evil desires and declare war on them. This disposition is therefore necessary, and it is its normal use, the one that corresponds to its true nature and renders the greatest service to the spiritual life and to the world. For example, this irascible, aggressive power proves particularly useful in prayer, in pure contemplation. It may be surprising, but it is thanks to this power that a person can repel the thoughts that seek to distract him or her from prayer. The brilliant Evagrius, who has such a practical mind, writes, "When you are tempted, do not pray until you have spoken angrily to the one who is gripping you. If you say something angrily to your thoughts, you confuse and dispel the images suggested by your adversaries. The proper, natural, and normal use of aggressive power is therefore, after this struggle against the adversary, to enable us to struggle within ourselves. In other words, to have the capacity to make efforts to grow spiritually. The spiritual construction of a human being requires effort. It is not possible in softness and laziness. If you are offered spiritual conquest without effort, without struggle, a Club Med type of spiritual conquest, do not believe it. It is not possible. There must be synergy between the grace of God that is offered to us and our desire, and therefore our effort, our struggle to move towards God. This capacity for effort, which is given by irascible power, allows us to be oriented in our deepest being, to be mobilized with all our strength, with all the power of our desire, to be focused on God as our sole desire. It enables us to strive for the spiritual enjoyment for which we are created. And this is how Evagrius Ponticus can say this astonishing sentence: the nature of irascible power is to strive for pleasure, a spiritual pleasure, of course, which is found in the bliss that accompanies it. Striving for pleasure means striving to acquire it and striving to preserve it. Be angry and do not sin, says the psalmist, Psalm 4:5.